Hello there. This is your video lecture on a concept that we need to work on called mangling modifiers, also known as misplaced and dangling modifiers. In our readability workshop, we talked about things that interfere with a reader's ability to understand, comprehend, and grab what you're trying to say. And this is one of those things that it occurs, and oftentimes it's very funny, but it does distract your reader and it does keep them from really understanding what you have to say. So going back into your distant memory, you probably remember grammar teachers talking about modification. And modification is simply this: adding more to. Just like you modify a sports car, you add to it. You add an exhaust, you add a lift kit. Same thing with sentences. When you add modifiers, you're adding to, giving more detail about a particular noun or pronoun. And so essentially the rule works like this. You place the modifier next to that which it modifies. Let's take a look at the first set of examples, okay? The first one, the patient was referred to a psychologist with several emotional problems. Now, is it the psychologist here who has the emotional problems or the patient? The reason this kind of thing is important is we talked about ambiguity in class, the idea that something in front of us could have two different ways of looking at it or two different readings. And as you can see, that sentence can be read the wrong way. So what you need to do is take that phrase with several emotional problems and put it next to that which it is referring. The patient, comma, with several emotional problems, comma, was referred to a psychologist. Then the modification is proper and makes sense to the reader. I love this one. Being only 5, the doctor did not know how to operate on me. Well, obviously the patient is 5, not the doctor, but because we place the modifying phrase next to that which it modifies, this being only 5 modifies doctor. So corrected it should be, the doctor did not know how to operate on me, comma, since I was only 5. Can you change words? Absolutely. Can you add words? Absolutely. Can you subtract words? Absolutely. Manipulate your text however you need to make sure that modifying phrase is next to that which it modifies. I gave some food to my kitten and chopped it up. This is disgusting. This sounds like somebody's chopping up a kitten. And you can see how a sentence like this would really interfere with readability. So I put some chopped up food next to my kitten. And, this way you straighten it out. And did I move things around and mess with words? Sure I did. This next one. The family lawyer will read the will tomorrow at the residence of Ms. Hannon, who died June 19th to accommodate his relatives. How nice of him to die on that particular day that he needed to do so, to accommodate his relatives. So, to accommodate his relatives, comma, the family lawyer will read the will tomorrow. And of course that straightens that sentence out. Let's look at another set of examples. I love this one. Smashed beyond repair, Bert saw his watch lying on the court. Well, here, what's smashed beyond repair, Bert or the watch? Is Bert drunk, or is it, that the watch has been crushed? So Bert saw his watch, comma, smashed beyond repair, comma, lying on the court. Notice I put it wherever I need to. And if I'm inserting extra stuff, I put commas around it. Hanging on the wall, my mom really liked the picture. There your mom is, hanging on the wall. So it really should be, my mom really liked the picture hanging on the wall. How about this one? Baking in the oven. John waited for the pizza. John is not in the oven. The pizza's in the oven. So John waited for the pizza baking in the oven. And then this fourth one. The sweater belongs to my best friend that has a V-shaped neck. What a weird-looking friend you must have that she has a V-shaped neck. So we want to put that V-shaped neck next to sweater. This V-neck shaped sweater belongs to my best friend. And then you can see you get instant clarity. So what really happens with these dangling and misplaced modifiers is that sometimes you have to move stuff around. Sometimes you have to insert a word or two to keep it from, not making sense, or you need an action in there. So sometimes you have to put a people, a place, or a thing into it to make it make sense. Hopping briskly through the vegetable garden, I saw a toad. My neighbors really laugh at me when they see me hopping through my vegetable garden. It's the toad. So I saw a toad hopping through the vegetable garden. Sam found a letter in the mailbox that doesn't belong to her. Well, Sam, that's a federal offense. You can't check other people's mail. So Sam found a letter that doesn't belong to her in the mailbox. And the last one, my cousin went on and on, describing the details of her wedding in the elevator. Oh my, that's so romantic, isn't it? A wedding in an elevator? So my cousin went on and on in the elevator, describing the details of her wedding. And then here's some particularly egregious examples. We rented a boat for my cousin with 2 motors. Now, we all have cousins who are very talkative. I understand that. But the 2 motors belongs to the boat. So we rented a boat with 2 motors from my cousin. Dressed in a diaper and drooling, Grandpa read a book to his granddaughter. This is so gross. You can see why a reader would just be completely freaked out by this sentence. Who's drooling here, Grandpa or granddaughter? So it should be Grandpa read a book to his granddaughter, dressed in a diaper and drooling. And then the last one, bruised and beaten by a better fighter. The little girl hugged her father after the boxing match. That's one tough little girl. So it's the dad that's bruised and beaten, right? So the little girl hugged her father, bruised and beaten by a better fighter after the boxing match. So the idea with all of these dangling and misplaced modifiers is that you frequently have to move things around to make them make sense. And we always put the modifiers, whether it's a single word or phrase or a giant clause, next to that word that it's modifying or telling us more about. Remember, modification means telling you more about. So as soon as you're done with this little happy slideshow, or maybe you want to watch it twice to go back, I have for you online an exercise from Khan Academy, and it deals with doing exactly this, putting the modifying phrase next to that which it modifies. And that's a very good exercise. Should give you the good practice you need for this. And it's also kind of entertaining as well. So if you watch this slideshow and you do the practice exercise, you should be revamped, refurnished, recycled for your dangling and misplaced modifiers. As always, do not hesitate to send me a text or email with your questions. Thank you.